What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video. I think, recently. This is recent. This is yesterday. If it doesn't upload today, it's yesterday. Alright. So, I'm doing my, before preseason, playoff predictions. Not playoff predictions, but season predictions. The video is not sponsored by this, but I went ahead and I did it on this website called Playoff Predictors. You can predict anything from football to baseball, like basketball, football, baseball, and college football. But there's not a lot to pick of because of what's going on. There's not a lot. People do know that baseball is starting back, football is starting back, and basketball is going to start back soon. Anytime. But here's what I'm here to tell you. I'm telling you the records that I think is going to happen next season. Now, many of you could be Cleveland Brown doubters, but this season is when we revive. Last season was a hoax because of our horrible coaching and our horrible offensive line. Injuries were very, very horrible on what we did, and we could just not control it. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think this way. I think this way is because people misunderstand the Browns. The Browns, the reason they didn't have a good season last year was because of what I just told you. And people are already saying Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, they're going to be at least number 2. But it's like, does Cincinnati really have an offensive line? No, they don't. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger, he's done with his prime. And I don't think you're just going to miss the playoffs, but I think you're going to be the one with one of the worst records in the NFL this year. The worst record I predicted for this is New England's record. New England and Atlanta tie at the worst teams from that one Super Bowl to the worst teams. And of course, Pittsburgh is third to last. So let's start from the AFC North. I think the Browns are going to go 13-2-1 and 6-0 in their division. They end up at number 3 in the playoffs and number 1 in the AFC North. 10-6 for Baltimore, 3-3 in the division, and they're number 5. Cincinnati, they go 3-12-1, and Cincinnati also goes 2-1-4. Pittsburgh, they go 1-15 and 1-5 in the division. Now we're gonna go to the NFC North with Minnesota coming in at number 1 in the NFC North, 11-5. Green Bay's coming in second place at 11-5, 4-6 in the playoffs. Now we got the people that missed the playoffs. Detroit 5-11, 3-3 in the division. Chicago 5-11, 1-5 in the division. That means that's why Chicago is last in the NFC North, and I did this for a reason. Chicago beats Green Bay in the last game of the season, and the reason that is because it's in Chicago, and they usually like to do upsets. To the AFC South, Tennessee makes it number 1 in the AFC, 14-1. There's no reason why they shouldn't be 14-1. They end up 5-1 in the division. Houston makes it to the playoffs at least. 9-6, 4-1 in the division. You don't see 9-6 like that anymore. Wait, did I even do? Wait, just a second. I don't even know if I did there. Wait, this might not be good. Did I even predict it? Yeah, it did. Well, anyways, even if it's not 9-6, it's 10-6, just like Baltimore. Jacksonville 7-8, and Indianapolis 6-10. We go to the NFC South, and I didn't really mean this to go this way, but I think Tampa Bay is going to be number one. 13-3. Makes them number one in the NFC. For some reason, New Orleans is now number 7 in the NFC at 11-5. They both tie each other at division wins and losses. Atlanta does not even win a division game. Carolina 2-4 in the division, 5-1. At least they get some games in there. Many people are saying they're not even going to win a game. I think they're a better team than Cincinnati and a better team than Pittsburgh. And I think Carolina's, they have their running back and they have a decent defense. Their quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, okay player. I ain't going to put him down like that. Ben Roethlisberger, he's reaching the time to retire, and he's really out of his prime. And Teddy Bridgewater is so young, he hasn't hit his prime yet, but we don't know. He might hit his prime this season. So, yeah. Now I'm going to go to the AFC East. I have Buffalo ending up number 4 in the playoffs, 12-3. I have Miami 7 in the play. They reached the playoffs because the Jets and the Patriots are not that good. I would have gave the Jets a couple more wins if it wasn't for the schedule they had. If they would have faced like teams that aren't that good anymore, like if they faced I don't know actually. If they faced Las Vegas like 2 times, they would be about 5-11 too. But that's not how it worked, and that's the outcome. And New England 1-15, 0-6 in the division. You know, Dallas makes it number 1 in the NFC East. Surprise, surprise. I'm not surprised. 12-3-1 because they tied the Browns and the Dallas Cowboys tied is my prediction because I just don't want to be controversial because they're both good teams and it's going to be a great game and I just don't see any of them winning. I just see a tie. Philly missed the playoffs by 2 numbers. They went 9-7, and I'm sorry, Philly fans. I didn't even mean Miami to get into the freaking playoffs. Even though you have a better record than Miami, I don't know how that worked out or anything. And you're still behind the Jaguars, and that don't make sense because they have a worse record than you. But things happen, and that's just the way it is. Now we go to the AFC West. We got Kansas City going 14-2. They lose 2 games because those games were actual tough games, and some games that I just don't think the Chiefs could win. They go 6-0. LA Chargers go 7-9. They just missed the playoffs by 2 in the AFC. LV goes 6-10. I think Las Vegas is going to have the Browns season last season. Like the Browns did last season. I think they're going to have that season this season. Denver 4-12. It's not a bad thing. At least you got 4 wins. If you get better draft picks next season, I think you could have a playoff chance team. But when you're in the division with Kansas City, it's kind of hard, especially when you're in the AFC. It's pretty hard because you have a lot of other good teams. You could make it to the playoffs because of the AFC East, but no. I'm looking at it. Number 1 in the AFC is Tennessee. Number 2 is the Chiefs. Number 3 is Cleveland. And number 4 is Buffalo. That's the AFC people that aren't going to have to worry about the wild card and stuff. The wild card people making it in is Baltimore, Houston, and Miami. Those are your wild cards for the AFC. The NFC, we got number 1 Tampa Bay, number 2 San Francisco, number 3 is Dallas, and number 4 is Minnesota. Those are your playoff people that don't have to worry about the first week and stuff, and after that, after the season's over. You got your wild cards. You got the Seahawks coming in at 5. You got Green Bay at 6 and New Orleans at 7. Those are your wild cards, people. I just can't believe that the Seahawks, Green Bay, and New Orleans ended up in the wild card because of how good Dallas, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, and San Francisco did this season. What I've predicted. Now we're going to take you into the championship week. Here is, I'm going to randomize the week. This is what this says, and then I'll tell you what I think. So, randomizing the week. Okay. So, really what I picked, but there's one game that I did not agree with. That's Seattle and Minnesota. I do not think Seattle will beat Minnesota. The season that Minnesota has is pretty much better than Seattle, and I'm going with Minnesota. Baltimore beats Buffalo, Cleveland beats Houston, Kansas City beats Miami, Dallas beats Green Bay, San Francisco beats New Orleans. All right, now we go to next week. Now it's Tennessee versus Baltimore. Let's see. Randomize this week. It says Cleveland and Baltimore win. San Francisco and Minnesota. Do you think Baltimore gets it? That. Alright, and I guess that's how it works. Alright, now we're going to go to the next one. Conference championships. Cleveland beats Buffalo, and San Francisco beats Minnesota. Next week, randomized a week, and it picked Cleveland to win the Super Bowl. Well, that's kind of it. All went in the way I wanted it to. So, those are my predictions from right now for the season and the playoffs. Thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you liked it for more better videos.